One Source Codex here, aka Jazz Fusion Guy, and today I'm going to show you how to install speakers in a 2009 Ford Escape Hybrid. Now this method of getting into the door panel and installing the speaker is going to apply to many of the Ford Escape class vehicles through many years. So I did a lot of research and I picked this 6x8 speaker, the Infinity by Harman, reference 687F, and it had a lot of good reviews. And I double checked on Crutchfield and other places, and it said yes, this will fit your vehicle. So double check with that info before you install anything. And I picked up a couple of Ford speaker harnesses, 1998 and up. I bought all of this on Amazon because it was the best price. So first thing first, what do you do when you work on electrical systems? I got to go in here and I'm going to disconnect the battery on the negative side. I wanted to mention the whole reason I'm replacing these speakers is I have tons and tons of music on my phone. And as a musician, I've got a lot of my own stuff on my phone that I listen to while I'm driving. I tend to mix my own stuff with a really heavy bass response and nice crisp highs. You know, it's got that look like this with the mid-range down here and the bass up high, the highs up high. Well, my stuff blew out the standard speaker in my car on the right. You know, I was listening to somebody else's music, the regular sound levels and EQ of their music, and when I put mine on and had it at the same volume, boom, and I started getting that nice popping and clicking and distortion on the right hand side. So now it's time to kick it up a notch and put in these speakers, which will be highly superior to the Ford stock speakers. And if you're curious, take a looky here, and this is some of the stuff this speaker comes with. Patented plus woofer cone architecture, vented basket frame design, edge driven silk dome tweeter, adjustable 0/+3 dB tweeter output level control. So there's all that good stuff, but you don't care what kind of speaker I bought, you care how it goes in the car. So let me get on it. Well, I said that I was going to disconnect the negative, but the too tight in here to get tools in. Somebody not thinking too good design wise. So I'm going to loosen up my cable to the positive. See if that's loose enough to take off. It is. So I'm going to now improvise, put this plastic under here, and then it can lay right there. It's not going to be any connection. I'll double check inside the car, make sure that the clock is not running and all that. I double checked and there is no power showing up on the dashboard, so we are good to go. And as far as how long things are going to take, I started this at around 11 a.m. and that'll give you an idea of just how long this project's going to take. Unfortunately, to get into where the stock speakers are, this whole door panel's got to come off. But I'm taking the challenge because it should not be that difficult. You've got a Phillips head screwdriver here needed, another one down here. There's going to be a screw that is going to be needed to be removed here behind the handle, and also down in here. You're going to have to disconnect the mirror control. You're going to have to disconnect the window controls and the door lock and all that good stuff. And if I am correct, there's also going to be a cable somewhere inside here that's going to need to be released. But we'll see that when we get into it. Okay, I'm going to loosen this screw and this screw, the screw in here and the screw behind the door opening handle. We'll see what we find. I'm doing this out in the driveway in the sun, which is not the most ideal, but it's not really hot today and we've got a little bit of a breeze going on. So that's pretty good. Ideally, I would have pulled the car into the garage and worked on it in the shade. Unfortunately, currently, my garage is full of too much stuff for me to get both doors open conveniently. So it's outside, we do it. And I also picked a day where it's not going to be too hot and there's not going to be any rain. So consider that when you start this job. And when you're doing a job like this, it's a good idea to have a container to put pieces and parts in so you can find them easily. It's so easy to lose screws or drop them and they roll somewhere, so a little container nearby always helps. Here in this hollow, there is a screw and a little piece of rubber that you take out to get to the screw. I discovered when I was double checking around this door frame, there is a screw down here that you want to get out as well. So what we need to do next, now that we have gotten screws out 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'm going to slowly try and pry this away without doing any damage to this plastic here. So we'll see how that goes. Instead of a screwdriver, I've got this plastic, hardened plastic that came with a license plate cover, and I'm going to installer, and I'm going to try that. It is coming. There you go, I heard that. Okay, what you find inside here is these green things that pop into the metal. Now let me take a look at the other side and see what's going on. My brain ain't so good sometime, and I just realized there is a screw to remove from here. There is a panel covering the screw, and it's the same color as the door. So what you've got to do is go in and pry this little panel up. And I'm going to try and do that. There we go. All right. Glad I remembered that. So inside is a different type of screw. It looks like a star. I don't even know the name of it. But I'm going to go get a bit that'll fit that. And we'll loosen that up. So you are going to need a bit that looks something like one of these here. Like one of those right there. So I'm going to pick one and see if it's the right size. Okay, I got the right bit, and since it's kind of tricky to get in there and I didn't have a tool to fit the bit, I went ahead and got one of these flexible bit runners. Let's get her in there right. I've got a headlamp on. That sort of thing always helps. There you go. We are out. Woohoo! Okay, I just used this non-abrasive hardened plastic tool to pry the mirror control off. And all you need to do is take the electrical harness off. So let's see how hard that is to do. Okay, that was good. Okay, I used this screwdriver to put some pressure. Use this screwdriver, put some pressure right here, because I don't know if you can see it, but this is flexible here, and this is what allows it to disconnect. And there's what she looks like, your mirror control disconnected. And this is what holds it in to the door panel here. So we'll put that aside now. I'm going to attempt to pull this door further away. See what I can get. Working my way from the top down. Okay. I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm going to turn this a little bit. Right here is your locking switch. You're going to need to lift the whole door panel up off of that. There you go. I'm going to get the camera and take it off the tripod and show you what's down in here. I'm having so much fun. Okay, behind the door panel, here is that, sort of hard to see. Here is that pulley system that goes to the door handle. And here are some electrical controls here. And here are some other wires also connected. So what you need to do is you need to work on your top stuff connections to pull the door further out. So I'm going to work on getting that pulley off now. Okay, I'm going to try and take the pulley off for the door opener, and then the lock mechanism on the side here will be next to take off. But the thing you do is you slide that up. There's a holder there, you can see the ridge, and then the frame that it slips down in like that. You lift that up, and then the next thing to do is pull that cable with that connector there. You just pull it out of that slot, you pull it up. Alright, let's look over here what we got next. This is a little tricky. Getting your door lock mechanism, your connector out on the top, there is this flexible release thing that you press in. I just pressed in with a small flathead screwdriver and it came loose from right there. You probably can't see it. So the next thing to do is to get these window controls off. So we're going to work at doing that now. When you release these connectors from back here, this whole thing falls right out of the door cover. That was sort of a surprise, but that's the way it is. I'm going to mark this with an arrow pointing this way, and this one with an arrow pointing that way. Even though they're stuck in position, that way I'll know for sure to get them in the right place. So my connectors are now marked, just a Dummkopf proof system, and there's the stock speaker. So I'm going to find the right bits to fit those 4 bolts to get them out. That'll be next. Okay, the socket you're going to need is a 1/4 inch. I'm going to go get my low power cordless drill to back these guys out. Well, the batteries on my low power drill were dead as a doornail. So I've got my trusty Hitachi here. Let's loosen the ones on the bottom first. That was easy. That was easy. That was easy. Things should just pop right out now. There they are. Take a look at what we're looking at. Okay, here is our wires coming off, and here is how we disconnect whatever. I'm looking for a plus sign or a negative sign. I don't see it right now, but let's just take this guy out. And there we go. That's your old speaker. This one actually works. I may stick it on eBay as a single speaker for somebody that needs to replace a single speaker. So now I'm going to try and figure out how my new speaker is going to hook up and interface with this connector. Worst comes to worst, I may have to redo the wiring here, but we're going to give it a whirl, see what we get. And so far, I have been at this 1 hour. Well, now it's time to figure out these adapters. This is going to be for, I'll say, the right door, and that's later. This is going to be for the left door, the driver's side door, and I'm going to try and figure out how that connects one way or the other to what that 2009 Ford's got going. This, I believe, would be the hot wire, the black, and the white, the ground. We'll double check that. Black is negative. Okay, so that would be the ground. The black here is going to be the ground, and the white is positive. That is the juice. So let me go run to the car real quick and take a look and see if these guys will connect. Hope they do. Okay, here we go. This little connector is going to fit perfectly into this. Perfectly is a figure of speech. We'll try and make this happen. Okay, it's into the hilt. These are your connectors for the speaker. I'm going to grab the speaker, connect it. I'm going to attach it into the door, reconnect the battery, turn on some jams, and see whether we got success. Okay, the battery is reconnected. Speaker is installed. I've got the Bluetooth on with this camera that I'm videotaping with. And let's crank up the volume and see what we have. I think that will do. Yep. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so speakers in. Took me right at an hour and a half. This is the first time I've ever done this, and I'm really happy with this. Excellent. You're gonna connect your window up and down parts. You're going to connect your door lock. You're going to reconnect your cable for your door handle. Let me zoom this out a little bit. Out, John, out. So yeah, you're going to do everything in reverse. Your mirror over here, you're going to reconnect your mirror. Then you're going to hang the door panel over this here. You're going to hang it over that there. And then screw your screw over there, to here, and then that screw that goes into your door handle itself, and you're good to go. So I'm going to put this all back together again, make sure that it works, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It's funny, this speaker was working okay. It was the one on the passenger side that was blown. So we'll get that bad one out in just a little while. Is this too loud? Love it. Well, the real test to see whether it all works, I have to put it back together again. Set our radio station. That works. Window works. All the windows work. Door locks. Door locks. Okay. See if the door opens. Door open. Lock won't stay down because the other door is open, but everything works. It's good. Let me check my mirror adjustment. The mirror works. So we're right at 2 hours and we're all done. The thing that I liked about these speakers, it came with this pre-sticky anti-vibration stuff that you could put on by yourself, going around the edge of the speaker. That's a nice little aftertouch. Well, as I said, the one door took me really right at an hour and 45 minutes if I take away all my messing around with photography and videoing and adjusting this and running for tools and double checking all this. If I'd worked steady, it would have took me right around hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes. So it is time now to put this puppy in where the bad speaker is located on the passenger side. Time to get started on the second speaker. go. Well, there is no clipping. There is no bass distortion. It sounds just like I recorded it not less than 30 minutes ago and put this file on my phone. Just listen to this. Okay, it should start over. There you go. Yeah, that's an original piece by me. Genre would be called synth rock. It's got basically 3 or 4 lines of audio mixed together, and I can tell you these new Infinity speakers sound great. And I hope you enjoyed the demo on how to install them in a Ford Escape type vehicle. And I believe the method will apply for many different years of Ford. All right, signing off. Time to go back home. I didn't want to jam out in my driveway, so I'm sitting in a big parking lot doing this. Ciao!